Okay, so the big question to open tonight's story is this. What could possibly be worse than being in prison? Answer: being in prison when all the other inmates are zombies. Now, if that hasn't set you up for tonight's story, then I don't know what will. So, without further ado, here we go with
Prison of the Undead by Jrubas. May 23rd, 2024. It's my birthday today. Yay, me. I'm 21, and instead of a car or a visit to the strip club, I got a pack of smokes from Jimmy Muro, a Coke from Corey Knight, and this notebook from Quincy Jennings. I mean, I'm touched and all. I didn't expect shit, but yeah, I'm still kind of disappointed. It'll be a year in June since I got here. Wonder if I'll get something then. You know, a little anniversary present. A hustler would be nice. I'm starting to forget what a woman looks like. The only one around here is Tina Snipe, who works a night shift. She's manlier than I am. Not that I'm a bitch or anything. And I work out and play ball in the yard, so I'm pretty toned. But Tina, shit. Her arms are about as big around as Rambo's, and her neck looks like a pack of hot dogs. She keeps her hair really short and swaggers up and down the block like she's got a Ron Jeremy between her legs. Some of the guys who've been in here for years talk about doing her if they could get a hold of her. Shit, she'd probably do them. God, I hope I don't end up pounding myself to her one day. But then again, not like a lot of guys in here. It's amazing how much sex means to some people. It's like a sickness. They get taken off the streets, so they start putting it into other men. It's not even the homosexuals you have to worry about. It's the straights. I knew this black dude who was a gangster, in for pimping. Every time he got back to prison, he was suddenly gay. Yeah, he was the pitcher now, but gay nonetheless. And yeah, this other little black dude, regular gay guy, has his bitch, rubbing his feet, getting his tray, sucking him, and all that kind of shit. But whatever, to each his own. I don't have anything against queers. This one dude named Matt's pretty cool. He has kind of, I don't know, feathered 70s hair and 5 o'clock shadow. We play chess in the yard sometimes, so he's good too. Has a little table set up near the wall in the shadow of one of the guard towers, waits for guys to play him. Step right up, he occasionally calls out. Come get that ass beat. Anyone who steps up loses big time. Well, this black dude got pissed once and flipped the table over, scattering Matt's pieces everywhere. Man, he got pissed. Beat the holy fuck out of the dude. Left, right, left, roundhouse. Looked like a freaking UFC match. Took 6 guards to drag him off. Sometime later. It was about 3 or so in the morning. I just woke up from a terrible nightmare. Can't really remember any details, but it was about zombies, I know that. I think it was in this isolated farmhouse, and they were shambling through the dark, all over the front yard, backyard, the side yards, and I was alone. For some reason, I think I was a little kid, maybe 6 or 7. I was trying to hide somewhere. I can't remember where, but it was like right in plain sight. Living room, yeah, that's it. I was in this living room, cowering in a semi-dark corner, hoping the fucks couldn't see me through the big picture window. There was a porch light streaming in, and I was just out of its reach, so I thought I'd be safe. God, it was horrible. They were on the porch, passing back and forth. Finally, one looked right at me. It was a tall guy in a dusty suit, and his head was all rotted and brown and lumpy. He smiled, frickin' smiled at me, and then started pounding on the window. God, I was too scared to move. His buddies joined in, and the sound of smashing glass is what woke me up. Never should have watched the news today. I was trying to keep away from that shit, but my curiosity got the best of me. Well, it's not like I saw any of them up close. Just shaky footage from a chopper. Some of them were crossing a huge field, and the guardsman was shooting at them from the highway. After that, some bubble blonde came on and interviewed this scientist out of Harvard or Princeton or something. And, well, that's it. I wonder what the hell's making them come back anyway. The government's saying radiation from the Saturn probe. I don't believe that shit. Look at Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Chernobyl, 3 Mile Islands. And did any of that shit produce flesh-eating zombies? I bet it's a virus. Something escaped from a government lab somewhere. That makes the most sense to me. Some new biological weapon in the works, based on the zombie myth. An accident. Sounds like the plot of a movie, doesn't it? Well, like they say, truth is stranger than fiction. May 24th, 2024. Oh, today was typical. Nothing exciting. That's fine with me, though. Exciting here doesn't mean the same thing it does out there. Usually, it means terrible. Oh, we had an exciting few days last week, when the Nazis and the Crips over in E-Block started a little mini riot. You see, during most of the day, our cells are open. We can come and go as we please. There's not really much to do. Go down to the day room or the rec room, which is just an open space with metal tables where you can play cards or checkers or something like that. Well, anyway, I guess some kind of drug deal was going down. It went bad or something. I don't know, but, well, all hell broke loose. The guards made us go back into our cells and put us on lockdown for like 2 days. So, nothing major happened, and I'm cool with that. I got up at sunrise like always and did my workouts. The cell block was still dim and almost eerily tranquil, so I tried to be as quiet as I could. Around 7, when the others were coming groggily awake and stirring in their cells, a guard came round and did a head count. We got one guy, Steve Jordan, bank robber, jerking his gherkin. "Oh, get it out of your hand," he yelled, his steely voice echoing up and down the hall. Some of the other guys jumped in, laughing and making fun of Jordan. Hypocrites, they beat their meat too. Everyone does around here. If you don't, well, you're using something else to get you there. 15 minutes later, while a few of the guys were still razzing Jordan, the door slid open and we fell into line. A few marble-faced guards stood along the way to make sure we behaved ourselves. I was the last, and shuffled along after everyone else. The door at the end of the cell block opens onto a long hall, lined with barred windows which let in the bright orange morning sun. I glanced out, seeing the rising barbed wire top fence, then turned back to the bald head in front of me. Through another door is the cafeteria, which, if you've ever gone to a public school, I don't need to waste space on. We filed along the counter and picked up what we wanted. Cold scrambled eggs, rock-hard toast, half-raw potatoes, glass of orange juice. It sounds kingly for prison, but you try choking the shit down every morning. "Hey, Benny, what's up?" I looked up from my metal tray, already recognizing the voice. Will Legg stood about 5 foot and weighed about the same as a paper bag. He wore a plastic hairnet and a drab blue apron over his light blue shirt. He was smiling, revealing his rotted teeth. "Not much, Will," I replied. Now, Will's a serial killer. He used to run around Newport News and Hampton Roads shooting people in the back of the head. Well, he escaped the death penalty because the ACLU didn't like how he was taken down and advocated for him to the bitter end, paying for the best legal defense and everything. He laughs about it, saying he played them for all they were worth. Instead of death, this son of a bitch is looking at parole in 30 years. "I can't wait till real summer gets here," he commented, slopping potatoes onto my tray. "I love the heat." "Yeah, me too," I said, moving on. "Yeah, enjoy your breakfast." Jeez, what the fuck did that mean? Did he spit in it or something? Well, probably not, I figured. Serial killers are notorious bitches when they get into the penal system. Model prisoners. I sat down at one of the long tables against the far wall across from Quincy and Jimmy. "Yeah, what's good, cuz?" Quincy asked as we did one of his black handshakes. "Not a goddamn thing," I said, settling down. "I hear we're getting an extra 5 minutes of rec time," Jimmy put in, stuffing toast into his mouth and crunching it. "Since we ain't started any shit." "I wish," Quincy said, bending over his food. "Probably bullshit. Who told you that anyway?" "Tina." "Oh, man, that bitch is lying," Quincy turned. "She just wants to get your hopes up." "I don't think she'd do some shit like that," Jimmy replied. She's pretty cool. You just gotta... Quincy shook his head. Okay, but when your ass is coming in same time from the yard, you'll see. Yeah, I bet you a pack of ports she ain't lying, Jimmy said. You got yourself a deal. Quincy and Jimmy shook. Quincy then rubbed his hands and looked at me. I taste 'em already. Keep dreaming, Jimmy said. Breakfast was over in 20 minutes. We all lined back up and were led back to our cells. A lot of guys go back to sleep after breakfast and don't wake up till lunch. Well, I am the type that gets up and stays up, so it worked out a little bit. You looking to beat me, Jew? I was doing push-ups against the wall, facing the little barred window. I turned. Billy Sutherland occupies the cell next to Quincy's, which is right across from mine. He was standing naked to the waist, looking out at me, his hands clutched around the bars. You want to take me down? Shut the hell up, I said, and then turned my back to him. Billy was a neo-Nazi Aryan Brotherhood ankle-biter, full of talk and shit. I'll rip that big nose off your face and shove it up your ass. I got something you can shove, I muttered under my breath, getting back to my workouts. Oh, shank your guts out, you frickin' maggot. I ignored him. Then I'll skull fuck you. Ignored him. Heil Hitler. Ignored. Finally, he stopped. When I was done, I climbed up onto my bunk and read the opening 100 pages of a Dean Koontz thriller. I could have gotten more, but Billy would occasionally call out and distract me. Always got that frickin' nose buried in a book, you frickin' nerd. When rec time came, the doors were opened and we were let out. I stood behind Billy. He didn't make a move or even look at me. The sun was high in the cloudless sky, and the temp must have been around 80. I played a losing game of chess with Matt, and then walked around with Quincy and Jimmy. We talked about a lot of nothing. Jimmy boasted about some of the crimes he'd committed in the ghetto. A lot of guys like to brag on themselves, and I fucking hate it. I keep to myself about what I did. Quincy does too. He told me once what he did, robbed a liquor store, but only when I'd asked him. So I jumped in the river and frickin' dipped, Jimmy was saying. Lucky your ass didn't get hypothermia, Quincy replied, hitching his pants up for the 100th time. I was in the woods after that for about 3 hours. Man, I was cold as shit. Finally got a ride from some old redneck in a pickup. And all that over parking tickets? Well, yeah, didn't have any money. Oh man, you're dumb. How much time did you get when they caught your ass? A year. See, you wouldn't have got shit for parking tickets, but you had to run, man. Quincy looked at me then. See this shit? I nodded. Yeah, not really smart, Jimmy. Fuck you guys, Jimmy said offensively. Quincy laughed. Rec time ended at the normal time, and back on the cell block, our doors were open now, Jimmy grumblingly gave Quincy a pack of Newports. May 25th, 2024. God damn it, shit. Today sucked dick, big, with dripping yellow pus. God, I could rip someone's freaking head off right now. I mean it too. A lot of people talk shit, but I'm serious. A CO named Rob, real cool guy, was supposed to smuggle me in a blunt today, but the damn bastard called in sick. Third motherfucker to do that this week. I caught some Fox News in the day room with Jimmy and Billy earlier. That didn't help my mood. Pictures of burning cities, looted storefronts, riot police, interstates crammed with traffic, hordes of walking dead, the president declaring martial law from a fallout shelter in West Virginia. Yep, freaking grim. Of course, Billy spent the entire time bitching about black people swarming around the ghettos and taking advantage of the situation, carrying away TVs, stereos, and shoes. Finally, I had to leave the room. combination of him and the news was just too much. Best not to even think about it. Oh, at dinner there was a fight in the cafeteria. A black guy named Derek and a Mexican named Antonio started throwing fists out of nowhere. A couple of testosterone-drenched retards. Anyway, we came right back to ourselves and might be on lockdown tomorrow. Those two ass clowns will be lucky if they don't get their heads cracked open. God, I hate that punish one, punish all system. Sometime later, about a half hour ago, I finished the last 100 pages of a book by Dean Koontz called Relentless. Man, that guy's a freaking god. When I closed the book and put it down, I realized I didn't have anything else to read, so I got up, went to my cell door, called across to Quincy. Hey, Quinn. He was sitting on his bunk, back against the wall. Yeah? You still got that ghost book? Well, the ghost book's an anthology of ghost stories from the South. Nah, man, Matt's got it. Oh, shit. Hey, I got some romance stories. I crinkled my face. Fuck, no. He smiled. Yeah, beggars can't be choosers, man. I guess I'll just write in my diary. Before Quincy could respond, Billy Sutherland jumped in. Girls keep diaries. He was standing at the door, his arms thrust through the bars, crossed at the wrists. Oh, journal, I corrected. Yeah, nerds keep journals. God, whatever. May 26th, 2024. Yeah, son of a bitch, we're on lockdown. I have a book, but I'm too goddamn steamed to read. It's a beautiful day out there. I don't get to experience any of it thanks to those assholes. Don't even feel like writing right now. May 27th, 2024. Oh, we're still on lockdown. It's cold and rainy out, so it's not like I'm missing any yard time, but the boredom is frickin' terrible. Just imagine sitting in an empty room all day with nothing to do. If you're not careful, you'll go crazy. I've seen a few guys lose their minds after being in their cells too long. It ain't pretty. They get red and clenched and start shaking. Then they blow like dynamite and start yelling and screaming and kicking and punching. That's when they call in the prison SWAT to come in and subdue them. Yeah, they get the guy into this chair with straps and belt him in. Then they put a mesh spit guard on his face and wheel him off. There's something about it that just really disturbs me. I mean, how degrading. I thought the Bill of Rights outlawed cruel and unusual punishment. Yeah, well, we're on lockdown. And that's cruel and unusual. If I had a book, it'd be better. I've just been laying here, thinking about life, or trying to. Never got too in-depth because that freaking ass clown Billy has been doing anything and everything to piss everyone off today. Oh man, I could kill his ass. At first, at 4 a.m, he started screaming out some racist song about blacks and wild Indians from the plains at the top of his lungs. Oh man, shut the fuck up. Muffled voice cried tiredly as their owners reluctantly stirred. Tina finally came out and told him to pipe down, and he did, for about 5 minutes. Then he started acting like a woman in the throes of orgasm, screaming, moaning, and screeching, "Oh God, yes." By 5, with most of us up thanks to his bitch ass, he starts singing out insults for everyone within earshot. Hey, Benson's a four-eyed homo. Murrow's a black-loving wannabe. When lunch was served, he kept flicking bits of corn into my cell. I tried to let it go, but I just blew it. I took my cup of corn and threw it across the hall. It hit his bars and showered Billy's smug little face. Hey, I'll kill your ass if you keep it up, I shouted, and I meant it too. He launched into a tirade of threats and insults, but before he could really get going, a guard came out and made his threat. If we kept acting like assholes, we'd get an extra day of lockdown. You better believe everyone's been as good as gold since. Except Billy. He cries out every now and then, jarring our nerves. June 1st, 2024. This morning after breakfast and before reg time, I was sitting in my cell reading when one of the guards came and told me my lawyer was on the phone. I followed him to the office, a drab, Spartan space with tan wallpaper, rusted metal desks crammed with papers and computers, and sat in an uncomfortable chair near a desk. He picked up the white handset, stabbed a red button, and handed it to me. Hello? A wave of static crashed. Benny, how are you? David Sawyer is in his mid-50s and wears his iron hair in a Shemp Howard fashion, hanging in his eyes, if not tucked behind his ears. He has a vast collection of bow ties, which he wears religiously, and his glasses are like huge Coke bottles. I think he consciously tries to affect the air of a Southern attorney from the 40s. He pulls it off quite well. As well as anyone in 2024 can, that is. Pretty good, I replied. You staying out of trouble? Yeah, read a lot, you know. Well, yeah, still. Another blast of static cut him off. Odd, the reception's always been fine in the past. Hey, what was that? Reading that Stephen King stuff? I smiled. At my trial, Dave tried to blame what I did on my love of Stephen King books. He even went so far as to read 3 of them before court, and happened to find a scene eerily similar to my crime. In fact, I'd never even read that book. Still haven't. Well, not so much anymore. Well, life's starting to feel like a Stephen King book, he said, and then nervously tittered. Getting weird out there, huh? Oh, more than that, he said gravely, and then paused. That's actually sort of the reason I called. Yeah? Yeah, I know my monthly appointment with you is on, papers shuffled. The, 13th. But, won't be able to make it. Oh. Yeah, my wife and I are going to West Virginia tomorrow. We have a cabin up there in the woods. We're gonna wait this thing out. Is it really that bad out there? Yeah, Ben, it is. Hey, look, I gotta go. I gotta make a dozen more of these calls. You take care, okay? Might see you in the fall. And then, without ceremony, he hung up. I might see you in the fall. Might. The guard took me back to my cell, and for a long time I just brooded. Now that I think about it, a lot of the usual guards haven't been in for a while. In quite a while. And my therapist, an old hippie guy named Bill, called in his vacation time last week. I guess it's really not that weird. I wouldn't come in if I were them. Why the hell fight my way through packs of killer zombies just to get to work? June 3rd, 2024. Things keep getting weirder and weirder around here. Maybe David's phone call opened my eyes, and I'm just now noticing it, but I don't think so. Seems like things are getting bad pretty quick. Reminds me of the Titanic. Strange analogy, I know, but that's what it puts me in mind of. That mother sat there for 2 hours, lights blazing and music playing, and then in 10 minutes it was gone. One moment the deck's a little off kilter, the next everyone's in the water like, what the fuck? I guess everything has a point at which it breaks wide open, again like the Titanic. If that's so, then we reached it. The most noticeable thing is the atmosphere. It's crackling with this dark tension so thick it could choke you. The guards aren't themselves. They're starting to worry, and it shows. Yeah, the normal facade is still up, but it's starting to crack. Yesterday, Sean Fields, one of the afternoon COs, told me that at least 10 guards had called in that morning. Said it was getting too dangerous to come in anymore. He was probably going to take off sometime soon, too. Later he got a phone call from home and rushed out the door in a panic. And when the shift supervisor tried to stop him, he quit right on the spot. Yeah, and then there's Charlie, an older black guy who works weekends. I was working out this morning when he came by doing the head count like nothing. Benny, what's up, man? Hey, Charlie, what are you doing here? They called me in last night, he said, leaning against the door. Working short. He couldn't talk much longer. He said he was going to go home, but when we were let out for breakfast, he was still around. Yeah, working a double, he sighed as we were led into the cafeteria. At lunch, I counted only 2 guards in the cafeteria, and there should have been 4. The 2 I saw stood nervously by the payphones and whispered back and forth more than they were watching us. When I mentioned it to Corey Knight, he nodded. Yeah, get this. He then looked left and right and leaned in conspiratorially. They cancelled all infirmary visits. I was supposed to go for a checkup, but... Then Jimmy jumped in. Yeah, cancel my Bible class too. I heard they're gonna cancel yard time. Man, what the fuck? Quincy perked up. Hey, why? Corey shrugged. Daryl Haynes said there aren't people coming into work anymore. Daryl Haynes is a floater. That is, a guard who doesn't work a particular unit, just where they're needed. Yeah, said admin's been gone since the day before yesterday. No one even knows if they're gonna get paid. Later, around midnight, as I was lying in bed struggling to sleep, I heard Charlie and Tina arguing. The pod door clanged open, and there were footsteps. I can't stay, Charlie said, or rather pled. Well, you have to, Tina replied. I'm alone tonight. I've been working 24 hours straight. I can't. Charlie, listen. No, he retorted firmly. He passed by and went out the other door. Tina returned to the control booth, muttering curses under her breath. Jeez, this shit is starting to get crazy. June 4th, 2024. I was up and out of bed at my regular time, doing push-ups. What's that Chuck Norris fact? When he does push-ups, he's actually pushing the earth down. Getting myself in a state to face the day. When Tina, as big as life and twice as ugly, comes down the hall pushing a cart laden with trays. Quincy sighed from his cell. Hey, watch your mouth, Tina spat, passing a tray through the slot in my door. We on lockdown? Jimmy asked. No, came her surly reply. Well, then... She threw him a glance that warned against further questions and shoved his tray through. She went on, one cartwheel wobbling and squeaking. Hey, what the fuck? Billy looked through his bars after her, his eyes narrowed and almost predatory. This sucks. Quincy shook his head. Hey, if we're not on lockdown, Jimmy started. We are, Quincy said definitively. They just trying that diplomacy shit. Some of the guys down the way kept it up for much longer, shouting back and forth at each other, commiserating, laughing, growling. I ate my breakfast, and when Tina came back around and took the trays, she said, in general, Okay, listen up. Everyone fell silent. No yard today. A babble of disappointment. But you still get wreck. Extra even. That softened the blow, but not by much. They let us do an hour before lunch and didn't make us go back until dinner. I ate at one of the tables with Quincy and Jimmy. After lunch, we held an impromptu race, but Tina leaned out of the office door and yelled at us. I caught a little Fox News with Billy. The hosts were joking about woke zombie activists. Real funny until they showed videos from TikTok of dumbass kids literally calling the government Nazis for killing zombies. This isn't the apocalypse we wanted, but damned if it's not the one we deserved. Toward 5:30, as dinner was being passed out, he bowed his head and asked everyone watching to pray with him. Oh, he believes in Jesus and I don't, and though I'm at least a few miles to the left of him, I bowed my head and prayed, or at least tried to. June 5th, 2024. Well, today, we're officially on lockdown. Tina didn't have the balls to tell us until we were eating lunch. Everyone exploded, excluding me, Quincy and Jimmy, and probably Corey Knight. Billy was the loudest mouth there, his shaky voice rising above the din. The whirlwind kept up for hours until everyone was too hoarse to even whisper. I've been reading a Dean Koontz book since it died down, but my focus isn't very good. I can barely remember the last 50 pages. Anyway, at 3, when everyone was still going crazy, Tina left and the weekend shift came in. Or 2 of the weekend shift came in. JT, the manager, and Jason Haggerty. They brought us dinner, but didn't come around again until lights out. "Bedtime, Benny," Jason said through the bars as he passed. "All right," I said, putting aside my book. And then it struck me. "Jason?" "Huh?" "What's going on?" He looked at me for a long time. "Bad shit, Benny." "What kind of bad shit?" "Bad shit." June 6th, 2024. Haggerty came around with breakfast 2 hours late, and hinted around that he had to make it himself. He passed by an hour later in his street clothes, a jersey and a pair of jeans. Well, he ignored the questions thrown at him. A half hour later after that, Tina, who couldn't be more out of place, hurried by with a piece of paper crumbled in her meaty right hand. She came back with JT and announced that the governor was pardoning all non-violent offenders and convicts with less than 3 years left to serve. Well, with almost everyone gone, the block is about as deserted as a country road at midnight. At dinner, Tina's cart held 6 trays. Me, Billy, Quincy, Jimmy, and 2 others down the block. None could be Corey Wright. I saw him go out the door earlier. It's eerie being here with only 5 other people. Empty. Dead. Even at night there was a feeling of life. Now it's as void as the basement of a deserted house in the woods. The only sounds are the industrial air systems whirring on and off and the occasional cough or stir, which startles me every time. I was reading earlier and almost had a heart attack when the door to the pod clanged open. Tina, dressed in a pair of khaki shorts and a lumberjack cutoff, strode purposely by. I guess she's going home to stay, like Haggerty. June 7th, 2024. Breakfast came about 3 hours late today. The guys were getting rowdy when JT came down the line with the trays. God, he looked like shit. Dark bags hanging under his pink, sleepless eyes. He handed out the cold cereal and hard toast as quick as he could. Some of the others hurled abuse at him. Others asked him desperate questions, but he ignored them all. When he came by my cell, I took the tray with a muttered thanks. As the door to the block closed with an ominous, echoing finality, I looked at the slop in the metal bowl before me and wondered if this is the end. Pushing those thoughts aside, I ate my cereal. When I was done, I lay back on my bunk and gazed at the cracked concrete ceiling, trying my best to focus on anything other than zombies and Armageddon. Dinner didn't come until almost 10. JT was acting strange. June 8th, 2024. Could have added this yesterday, but I was too depressed. JT killed himself after he brought dinner. Or at least I assume he killed himself. No one knows for sure. But about 10 minutes after he went back to the control room, a single gunshot startled all of us from our meals. Quincy's head jerked up, his brow furrowed. What the fuck? Billy hopped off his cot, went to his door, and strained to look up the hall. Quincy sat aside his tray and tried to have a look for himself. I sat where I was, already knowing I wouldn't see anything. He was speechless, I think. Nobody said a word. No one came to investigate the shots. It was loud as hell. Must have come from something like a 357. They had to have heard it elsewhere. Or maybe JT was the last. No, there was another. An hour after he died, I saw someone else. My window overlooks the main entrance, and I was gazing out, thinking and silently praying, when a car came up the little service road and stopped, the red taillights glowing in the rain. Someone got out, opened the gate by hand, and drove off. June 9th, 2024. Crawled out of bed around noon with a throbbing headache and a nauseous stomach. I felt like a guy coming down off a monster drinking session. Didn't fall asleep until dawn and spent most of the morning starting awake from horrible, half-remembered dreams. In one of them, JT was a zombie, even though the bullet had splattered most of his brain across the control panel. The spookiest thing about that one is that he wasn't a mindless thing. He was, like a person. He came down during the morning head count with an evil grin on his face. The top of his head, a black and red mess, and his white uniform shirt drenched in blood. "Good morning, Jew." "Morning, JT," I replied. I closed my eyes so I wouldn't have to look at him, but I could still see him through my lids. In another, I was out of my cell and alone, wandering through dark, echoey halls and desperately looking for someone else. I heard things scratching and clawing and sniggering in the gloom behind me, but that's all. I tried to run, but it was like my feet weighed 1,000 pounds each. I finally found a door and burst out into daylight, and the arms of about a dozen zombies. The sun was hot on my flesh when I woke. Billy was up and quietly doing sit-ups in his cell. Quincy was reading, and Jimmy was jotting something down on a piece of paper. "Morning, Jew," Billy said, and I was instantly reminded of JT. "Fuck you," I muttered, sitting up and rubbing painful grains from my eyes. Most of the afternoon was quiet. I watched the roadway like a hawk, but no one came or went, and the gate was still open. Around 3 or so, I heard voices, guys from another block shouting themselves hoarse for someone to come and let them out. One of them must have worked loose a bit of his cot rigging, for the screams were accompanied by a monotonous clanging. One of them had a set of pipes AC/DC would envy. I could actually make out a few words. "Help me. Open the fucking door." Shut the fuck up," Billy screamed back, but I don't think they heard him. Sometime before 5, a phone in the control booth started ringing. It went on and on and on and on. When night fell, the floodlights along the fence didn't come on. Shawshank is an old place, and they aren't automatic. "Well, we're officially fucked," Billy said. "Someone's around," I sighed without conviction. I mean, they've gotta be. "No, they ain't," Quincy spat. "They left us for dead." "Yeah, you got that right," Billy concurred, beginning to pace like a caged animal. "See, that's what happens in a capitalistic society. Fat folks weren't getting paid, so they said fuck it and took off." "Well, they probably wanted to be with their families," I feebly countered. "Well, the way things are." "Bullshit. If they were really that goddamn worried, they'd bring their families here. I mean, we got tons of food, guns, vents, medical supplies. This is the perfect fortress. But, newsflash, shit ain't that bad. They just left because they weren't getting paid." "Yeah, you go, white boy," someone down the block shouted. "If things aren't that bad, why the hell are they pardoning convicts? You think they just walked out of here?" Billy stopped and favored me with a disbelieving stare. "You think they just release a bunch of criminals back into the community? You're naive. They wouldn't do that. No, they weren't pardoned. They were drafted." For a long time, he stopped, seeming to brood, and then said, "Well, as for us, we got one hope. Admin sees it ain't the end of the world and comes back, which I doubt will happen." Well, he's right. We're done. Fucked. Dead. My stomach's already growling like hell. It's been over 24 hours since I ate, and that wasn't much. JT wasn't in a Martha Stewart mood. Probably just went to the kitchen and grabbed whatever. Right. More tomorrow. June 10th, 2024. Well, as if my depression couldn't get any worse. I just sat down here and found out that I only have a couple of sheets left in this notebook. God, it's unreal. It wouldn't surprise me if some sadistic ghost or something ripped out a whole bunch and hid them so it could get off on my misery. God, fuck, I gave some paper to Quincy and Jimmy the other day. Even a sheet to Billy, but... well, I guess I'll just enter every other day, try to be short and sweet. Looking back, some of my entries are long as shit, but whatever. I have a few books, so it's not like I don't have anything else. In fact, I'd rather be reading than doing this. I can escape in a book, but writing, well, it's like probing a nasty wound. June 12th, 2024. Oh, I woke up so hungry this morning I thought my appendix burst and I was dying. My stomach hurt worse than anything I can remember. Felt kind of like someone was inside squeezing the shit out of my guts. And that was about sunrise. I've been up ever since, pacing the cell and looking out the window at the beautiful summer landscape. There are a few zombies at the gates clawing and trying to get in. They probably came from I-81, which runs just beyond the forest and down a sloping hill. Something blew up out there yesterday. There was a bright flash over the treetops, then sooty black smoke started pouring into the sky. Maybe it was some kind of pileup. Maybe something happened in Gordonsville, a little town just across 81. Either way, dead people are at the fence. June 14th, 2024. Look what your brother did to the door. For some reason I woke up with that quote on my mind. Forget what movie it comes from, some old indie horror film from the late 60s or early 70s. You know the kind I'm talking about. With the low budget and the cult followings. I can't even remember what exactly your brother did to the door. It was a funny scene though. His father was chasing him around the kitchen with a broom handle screaming, and your brother, this big Jason Voorhees type, was squealing in mortal terror. Oh, you damn fool. You ruined the door. I wish someone would ruin this frickin' door. I spent most of the morning looking at it, and it just stared mockingly back, challenging me to take it on. Billy's desperately trying to get his open, sawing at one of the bars with his little shank. Well, it's hopeless, but I can't blame him. Man, you ain't getting out, Quincy told him. Fuck you, he replied, running the blade against the bar so fast I expected sparks to start flying out. After a while he started screaming as his arm cramped, but he kept at it. He finally tired himself out, though, and quit. I've been laying around like a comatose chicken, curled up in a fetal position and dozing, having wet dreams about food. Man, last night it was a hamburger. I'd had lettuce, tomato, onions, mayo, ketchup and mustard, pickles. Every time I think about it, a pang of agony ripples through my stomach. I never once thought I'd ever be this hungry. God, it feels like I'm just freaking hollow in the middle. Like there's a big cartoonish hole where my gut should be. I wonder if my stomach will start eating itself. Yeah, I heard that somewhere. Probably bullshit. How the hell can a stomach eat itself? Where are the fucking teeth? Maybe it can somehow absorb itself or something. I don't know. Damn it. God, help me, I groaned at one point. God hates Jews, Billy said, unenthusiastically. Billy? Why the hell do you hate Jews so much? I asked. Yeah, they rule the world, he replied. No, they don't. Sure as fuck do. They want to taint white flesh and let all that immoral shit out. Gays dancing in the streets, I know it. Idiot. I didn't have the energy to fight with him. I just shut my mouth, and I've been writing this ever since. Well, it's close to dusk now, and the light streaming through the window is a warm, weak scarlet color. Everyone else is asleep, at least up here. I hear an occasional laugh from down the block. I was about to sleep, and I remembered it was dinner time, and that a week ago I'd be getting down with something hot and tasty. Well, I never thought I'd say this, but I miss prison food. I'd give my left nut for a piece of toast right now. Sometime later. I have no idea what time it is. Past midnight. I was asleep having a nightmare. In it, I was out and rummaging through the kitchen for something to eat when one of the doors burst open and all kinds of zombies started shambling in. Corey Knight was there. So were a few of the others. I was making a nice triple-decker sandwich. You know, like the kind Shaggy and Scooby are always pounding down. It looked better than anything. What? Ham, roast beef, turkey, tomatoes, lettuce, onions, banana peppers, jalapenos, cheese, and even a little olive on a toothpick sticking up for when I was done. Those frickin' monsters scared me and I dropped it. I frickin' dropped it. I watched in horror as beautiful toppings went all over the place. I fell to my knees and was racked with sobs of grief. I didn't even resist as they fell on me and started to eat me. I could feel the pain, but I didn't care. Sometime later, I was in that warm, fuzzy limbo between sleep and wakefulness, my last lingering thoughts straining to burst into vivid nightmares, when an odd sound dispelled the gathering mist in my head. Suddenly alarmed, I sat up, and in the gloom across the hall, I saw a dark form at Billy's door. He was sawing at that damn bar again, so I breathed a sigh of relief. "Billy, give it up," I croaked dryly. "Get some rest." "I've been sleeping all day," he grunted, and he intensified his attack. "I'm going to get out. I'm going to get the switch and get us all out of here." You realize that the door to the control booth is outside the block, right? You won't get the outer door open in a million years. Billy stopped dead in his tracks. I think I saw his shoulders sag. "The pod door?" "Yeah." The pod door is about 3 or 4 inches of thick metal with a huge lock. He was quiet for a long moment. "Fuck," he said heavily. "I didn't think of that." And he was dead silent for about 10 minutes. I lay back down and closed my eyes. "Hey, Benny," Billy asked tentatively. "Yeah?" "You really think we're fucked?" And for a long time I pondered that. Did I? Do I? With the sun high in the sky and birds singing in the trees, the ancient and omnipresent moon illuminating the night, and the land standing unchanged. Are we, well, gonna die? Oh, Billy must have thought I'd fallen asleep. "Benny?" "Yeah," I replied, thoughtfully. "Yeah, we are." June 16th, 2024. Jimmy borrowed long lost. I could barely even get over to the cell door. God, he looked even worse, thinner, and his head looked too big for his body. His eyes were sunken and his skin was a weird color. Quincy was sitting on his cot looking at his hands. He looked like shit too. "Here," I said, squatted, and slid it across the floor. The book somehow made it into Jimmy's reach. "Thanks, man." Billy was sawing on that same bar again, grinning now like he's freaking crazy. "Oh, give it up, Billy," I said. He didn't reply, but he knew it was a lost cause. I've been lying on my bunk ever since, my stomach gurgling agonizingly and my forehead burning with some kind of fever. I don't think I have the energy to keep this shit up much longer. I take little cat naps, but they're just not doing it. I try not to, but I have nightmares. Not about zombies, but about food. I woke up with a boner this morning from a dream of southern fried chicken and biscuits. June 18th, 2024. There were about 10 zombies down at the fence when I woke up this morning. I watched them out the narrow window most of the day, disgusted and fascinated at the same time. Oh, they look so much like normal people from here. I couldn't even see wounds on most of them. Well, except the cop. His guts are hanging out. The gateway is still open. A few of them are inside now, walking in circles. I hope no one left any doors open. God, the last thing I want is one of those things in here. June 20th, 2024. It was nice and sunny when I got up around 2 this afternoon. But deep black clouds started gathering in the east sometime around 4:30. It started raining heavy 10 minutes later, thunder crashing and lightning flashing. The wind picked up and hail the size of ping-pong balls began plopping out of the sky. Well, the idiot zombies didn't seem to notice any of this. They just kept clawing at the fence. What retards. They could just come through the gate, but they just, well, pass it by like it's nothing. They're the things bringing the world to an end. These stupid, shuffling weaklings. God, they make Romero's ghouls look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Anyway, I was watching the storm out the window when I saw a goddamn funnel form high in the sky and drop like a Viet Cong gook from a tree. I must have touched down in a neighborhood because within a minute all kinds of shit was swirling in around it like pagan dancers. Pretty sure I even saw a tractor trailer. "Hey guys," I called out over my shoulder. "There's a tornado out here." Quincy rolled off his bed and came to his door. "Where's it at, man? Ain't coming this way, is it?" He sounded scared. I wasn't. I thought it was pretty damn cool. Felt almost alive for the first time in, what, a week or more? The swaying trunk moved south, swung back north, and then looked as though it was coming right at us. My heart slammed and fear coursed through my veins. I felt so good. God, I was lightheaded. "Yeah, I think it is," I cried almost joyously. "Oh, fuck." "Hey, I see it," one of the guys further down the block called out. "Oh man, look at that shit." The tornado continued our way, striking something that mushroomed in a bright orange ball of fire. I oohed, and the guy down the block awed. "Hey, is it coming?" Jimmy yelled frantically from behind me. "Yeah." "Oh shit, man, we're fucked." "I hope it hits," I said, suddenly realizing what would happen. If it hits, it might smash the building open and we can get out of here. I was almost literally bursting with excitement, but that turned to horror when I saw our salvation shift again and glide away. No, God damn it. June 23rd, 2024. The power went out yesterday. It was evening and I was rescanning Relentless when the overhead lights flickered, hummed, and then died. Everyone groaned at once. "God damn it," someone yelled from down the block. When night fell, it was pitch black. There wasn't even a moon. A couple of times someone would get up to use the crapper and fall or knock into something. I banged my shin. That night I had a nightmare where the dead got into the prison and were eating people, and it was so dark all I could do was sit on my bunk and listen to people screaming and the zombies moaning and chewing. Today Billy's been staring into space. God, it's kind of scary. I called his name, but he just gazed at the wall. June 24th, 2024. The last page. I gave away some more paper to Quincy. Don't know what he's doing with it, but whatever. Well, I don't need it anymore. There's no hope. They aren't coming back. We're all fucked, just like Billy said. Billy. He killed himself last night. Gashed his wrists open with a bit of metal bunk rigging. Now he's standing at his door, drooling and reaching through the bars at me, his eyes grey and empty. God, it's about 110 degrees in here, and he's already starting to reek. How long until it's me, dead on the ground, stinking? How long until it's all of us? In the first part of this story, our protagonist found himself trapped in a cell in prison while the world collapsed around him.
Would he escape? Would he make it out alive or undead? In this episode, we see what happens once he leaves the prison. Prison of the Undead 2. Prisoner of the Road by Jrubas. July 4th, 2024. Cut my wrist this morning. But Nightwolf found me before I could bleed out and had Butch patch me up. Butch, this short, pudgy fuck with straggly grey hair and swastika tattoos on his dirty biceps, was a medic in the army. And he is good, I'll say that. When he was finished, Nightwolf took me into the woods, ripped my shirt off, and whipped me with his belt. Try some shit like that again, you're gonna wish you were never born, got me. Yeah, I muttered. I was on my hands and knees, blood gushing down my back and sweat coursing down my face, dripping from the tip of my nose. Good. Now get up. I got woozily to my feet and walked back to camp, Nightwolf behind me, so close I could smell the Captain Morgan on his breath. The night before, we'd set up camp in a field off Route 29. 8 motorcycles, a black van, and an olive drab Jeep with Virginia National Guard stenciled across the doors, dotting the grassy plain. A couple of the guys had slapped together tents with tarp and rope. They sat by fire pits laughing and drinking beer. A few glanced in my direction, but quickly looked away. At Butch's tent, Nightwolf called, "Patch the kid up again, will you?" Butch opened the flap, looked from me to Nightwolf, and then motioned me in. Sat in a folding chair while the old medic dressed my wounds. The alcohol started. "I'm being as careful as I can," Butch said. "We did a number on you this time." I didn't reply. Butch and Nightwolf were the only ones I talked to, and even that only happened occasionally. Butch sighed. "Look, I don't like what he's doing either. Ain't right. He's a leader. We all gotta do what he says. Kept us alive this long. That means something. Just do what he tells you. Don't make it harder on yourself." A bit down on the sides of my cheeks. I wanted to cry, to rage, to yell, but I blinked back tears instead. I'd been with the bikers since June 28th. When the dead began to walk, I was in prison, serving a life sentence for murder. Within a month, the guards had abandoned us, and we began starving to death. Billy Sutherland was the first to die. He snapped and cut his wrists. Jimmy died on the 25th. By the 27th, I was so weak from hunger that I couldn't get off the floor. So when the cell block doors clanged open and the sound of voices filled the pod, I thought I was dreaming. No, scratch that. Fevered and disoriented, I thought I'd died, and all the people I'd hated in life, dead now for sure, had come to take me to hell, where we would spend eternity crammed into a phone booth together. "Holy shit, boys," one of the voices said, echoing. "We got a live one." Lying on my back, my eyes closed. If they were here for me, I figured I'd face them like a man. Using the last bit of my energy, I rolled onto my stomach. I'd been lying in a bar of sunshine and realized then that my face had burned. Well, whatever. Worse where that came from, right? At snake level, all I could see were 5 sets of feet. Jackboots, jeans. One of them had spurs like a cowboy. Giddy up. "Help me." They were at Quincy Jennings' cell. He was diagonal from me. In his own cell, Billy pounded on the bars, groaning and reaching. "What's that?" the voice asked. "Couldn't hear you. What do you want from me?" Swallowing, I pushed myself up to my knees. A group of men in leather jackets and dirty black shirts clustered around Quincy's cell. They had beards, long hair, tattoos. Bikers. "Help," Quincy repeated. The man who had spoken looked at his buddies, a hateful grin on his face. He was tall, muscular, and wore his shaggy brown hair in a mullet. It reminded me of Dog the Bounty Hunter, only uglier. You want help? Big, strong, independent black man like you, and you want help? Help. I was on my knees, holding onto the bars now. Leave him alone, you dick, I coughed. The leader turned and looked at me. Another one. He looked me up and down, his gunmetal grey eyes flat and empty. In my delirious state, I knew that he had no soul. He wasn't a man at all. God, he was Satan, the rough beast whose time had come round at last. I really was dead, and this was hell. Johnny, get him out of here, will you? He went on staring at me, grinning an evil grin full of napalm and crying children. A man with a white beard and a black t-shirt stretched tightly over his gut waddled over, pulled something out of his pocket and started fiddling with the lock. Oh, Billy was going nuts now, face pressed to the bars, arms thrust through. Spike, take care of that frickin' deadhead. Spike, who looked Native American, nodded, pulled a knife from his belt and stabbed Billy through the head. Billy sank down, dead. Something like horror rose in me. He was already dead, sure, and in life he was a neo-Nazi wannabe. But, I don't know, being in this situation together, it's like we'd bonded. You bastards, I muttered. The door popped open then, and I spilled out onto the floor, hitting my face on the concrete. Help. I got your help hanging, Frogger. A gunshot rang out, deafening in the confined space. Quincy. I must have passed out then, because the next thing I remember is being carried through the kitchen and then through a door onto a loading dock. The sunlight was blinding, and I hissed. Shut up, pretty boy, the leader said. He carried me to a van and shoved me through a sliding door. Inside, a man with an eye patch sat against the wall, an AK-47 in his lap. Blinking the sunlight out of my eyes, I saw that the cargo space was crammed with guns. Guns, boxes of ammunition, and piles of what looked like pipe bombs. Who the hell were these guys? Remember the gunshot then. Quincy. Dead. My rage filled me, and I lunged for the guy with the AK. It wasn't really a lunge, more of an I'm lying down, so let me reach out and grab your ankle kind of thing. The guy kicked my hand away and shot me a dirty look. Fuck's wrong with you? You assholes. I think he hit me with the stock of the gun. Blackness enveloped me, and the next thing I knew, my head was in another man's lap, and he was pressing a canteen to my lips. You need a drink, he said. I was too punch drunk to worry about drinking, but he forced me. I coughed, spat, and choked. We stopping soon? The man asked. Yeah, just chill. 15 minutes later, the van came to a stop. The man laid my head on the ground and got out. Through the door, I could see a town park. Chain-link fence, baseball diamond, houses along a distant street. Suddenly I was yanked out of the van and dropped on the ground. 4 men loomed over me. The leader was one of them. He wore tight jeans, a belt with a Confederate flag belt buckle, and a denim jacket over a black shirt. A Colt revolver was jammed into his waistband. You think we're assholes, the leader said. I glared up at him. You killed Quincy. Sounds like you offed his boyfriend, Nightwolf, the man said. Nightwolf rolled his eyes. He was as good as dead anyway. Did him a favor. Luckily, you were well off, so here you are. Hey, you hungry? Fuck you. He kicked me in the chest then. The toe of his boot was pointed, steely, and it hurt like a bitch. Jeez, you're gonna kill him, the man who'd made me drink said. He's fine, Butch, Nightwolf said contemptuously. Scrape him up and give him something to eat. Then the bastard strode off, and Butch helped me to a park bench and forced a bag of Lays into my hands. I ate 4 of them, almost puked. They were salty and greasy. "Are you okay?" "I can't eat any more," I said. "That's all right," Butch said in a kind tone. He took the bag and handed me the canteen. I took a long drink. My stomach gurgled. Sitting there, I got my first good look at the gang. Bikes were lined up behind the van. The Jeep was in the rear. A good 2 dozen guys stood around drinking beer and talking. Looked like a frickin' barbecue. "What's your name, kid?" Butch asked. "Benny," I said. "Ah, I'm Butch. How long since you ate, Benny?" I tried to remember. "Don't know. 2 weeks, 3? Oh, that long, huh?" I nodded. "Yeah, they left us in early June." Butch shook his head. "That's a shame, ain't it? Just left you all to die." He gave a sad head shake. Took another drink of water. "So, how are things out here?" The last time I'd seen the news, it looked like those things were everywhere. A few of them had made it to the front gate of the prison at some point around June the 15th. Butch shook his head again. "Dead," he said. "No cops, no government, nothing. It's all gone." It took me a long time to process what he was saying. Gone. Everything, just like that. Nightwolf came over then. "You good?" he asked me. My chest still ached from his stupid boots, but I nodded. "Great. I want to get back on the road soon. If we don't come across any more smash-ups, we can be back in West Virginia by dusk." Well, that didn't happen. 10 miles from the park, we did come to a smash-up. 12 cars blocked the road, many of them smashed, burned out, or flipped over. I craned my neck to see past the bucket seats. "Damn it," Nightwolf said. He was behind the wheel. "Right, detour time." Dusk found us in Rockingham County. Green rolling mountains defined the horizon on all sides of us. We made camp on a farm off the highway. The place belonged to the Mennonites before. They found a buggy with reflective taillights in the barn. A couple of the guys built a bonfire, and everyone got drunk and danced around it like they were frickin' pagans. Nightwolf had posted guards, so we were protected from the dead at least. All through this, Nightwolf sat stoically on a log, keeping me close at hand. He drank one beer after another. When he was done with a can, he chucked it into the fire and cracked open another. At one point, one of the guys slipped a Leonard Skinner tape into the van's tape deck. Nightwolf made Butch go and take it out. "Hey, we don't need them fucks hearing us," he said boozily. When the party had wound down, Nightwolf took me over to the van. "You're staying in here with me," he said. I don't want to talk about what he did to me. But I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. Part 2. We mustered out and made 30 miles before dusk. The going was slow because a lot of the roads in Mineral County had been washed out at some point after the rising had started. Butch said they'd encountered a line of bad storms in Maryland, so maybe the same ones came through here too. I spent the majority of the trip gazing out of the window and thinking of running away. Well, I wouldn't make it, of course. Since I'd been with them, I'd seen 3 guys try to bug out and wind up being lynched. Don't think I care if they kill me or not, though. Oh, death would be better than this. But they wouldn't kill me, and that was the problem. Nightwolf would do something worse. The morning after he'd had his way with me, Nightwolf took me aside and told me how it was. "Nothing in life is free, Benny boy. Here you got food, protection, medicine. You gotta pay."
You ain't a doctor like Butch, are you?
No.
You weren't in the military like Andy and One Eye, were you? Again, I shook my head.
Nightwolf leaned in until his nose was touching mine.
His breath was hot, rank, and smelled like beer. You don't got the balls like I do you?
My face flushed with impotent rage, and I turned away. He grabbed my chin and forced me to look at him.
Do you?
He asked again.
No, I admitted, and the words were sour in my mouth. Then, the way you're gonna pay, you're my bitch.
He leaned forward and spat out those last 3 words.
Got some wash for you,
he said, and got up. An hour later, I was kneeling by a creek and rubbing Nightwolf's crusty underwear on a stone while the Native American guy, Chief Ass-Kick they called him, watched over me. When that was done, Nightwolf made me polish his boots. He sat there while I tried to scuff out a dozen years' worth of scratches, drinking beer and pointing out all the spots I'd missed. Whenever one of the other guys passed by, they'd comment on what a good little bitch I was.
Looks like you found yourself a keeper.
And that's marriage material right there. Well, it was freaking humiliating. After an hour and a half, he let me go and get his undies, which I'd hung up to dry. When I brought them to him, he got mad because I hadn't got all the skid marks out.
What the fuck is this?
It's the best I could do.
Your best ain't good enough.
I got mad then. Do I look like frickin' Maytag? Try wiping your ass next time. With that, he punched me. A quick hard jab to the jaw. I went down and he stood over me.
You got a smart mouth, boy.
I just glared up at him.
I'll break you, though. Oh, yes, I will.
Well, it's late now. I'm tired. Nightwolf is snoring. If I had a knife, I'd cut his throat right now. I'd try bashing his head in, but if I don't kill him, he'll really make it hurt next time. July 5th, 2024. The day started bright and hot. We spent the night on a hillside overlooking a small town in a valley. There was plenty of shade, but that didn't matter. Might as well have been in the Mojave. I cooked Nightwolf's breakfast while gazing down into the little village. It looked like the kind of place Norman Rockwell used to paint. Narrow streets lined with shops and wavering trees. A red brick schoolhouse. A white church steeple rising in the summer haze. While I was wool gathering, the bacon burned and I cussed. Sure enough, Nightwolf was pissed. He likes his bacon limp. One swift punch to the guts later, I got it right and he left me alone. I ate the burned bacon myself. It tasted like charcoal, but it was food. After breakfast, we packed up, or rather I packed up, with a little help from Butch, and we hit the road. We stopped in the little town and the guys raided a couple of shops along Main Street. In the hardware store, Jake Gonzalez got bit on the arm by a deadhead. The thing was right behind the counter and popped up as he was passing by. I was in the van with Nightfall when he, Butch, and Rob Heaton came out. Jake bleeding and Butch shouting.
Oh, fucking clown, Nightwolf sighed. See that? That's why you pay attention.
The other guys came out from wherever they were to see what was going on. Butch laid Jake out on the sidewalk and chopped the infected arm off with a machete. Well, I'd be lying if I said I didn't take pleasure in that. While Butch was tying off the stump, Nightwolf leaned over the passenger seat and rolled down the window.
5 minutes and I'm gone, whether you assholes are ready or not.
Of course, Butch wanted to keep Jake close, so that meant he got to ride with us. He blubbered for 10 miles before Nightwolf snapped on him and told him to shut the fuck up. After that, he fell asleep. Sweat shone on his face.
Oh, he doesn't look too good,
Butch said. That's his problem, Nightwolf replied. Don't think I caught it in time. Oh well. From the town where Jake got his bite, we headed northeast, eventually crossing into Maryland at the town of Kaiser. Yeah, there's a hospital up ahead, Butch said, proving he could read. Potomac Valley Hospital, the sign said. We should stop in it. Fuck him, Nightwolf said. Told you assholes a million frickin' times to watch what you're doing. If you're reckless and get bit, that's on you. He pushed a tape into the deck then, and great white filled the van. Once bitten, twice shy. I don't know if Nightwolf selected it on purpose, but it was kind of funny. You know, bitten. I liked it. Fuck Jake. From Kaiser, we followed a narrow country road that matched the Potomac River bend for bend. Butch kept pressing his hand on Jake's forehead. Man, he's burning up. We stopped 10 miles northwest of Cumberland at a state park overlooking a wide lake. Within 5 minutes, the rec area looked like a biker festival. Grills, fire pits, guys sitting on picnic tables, guys pissing in the forest. I fixed Nightwolf a plate and brought it to him. Not even a thank you. While they ate, I sat on the picnic table and looked out over the water. I wondered if I could make it to the water's edge before they could get me. If I hit the water, maybe they wouldn't come after me. And if they did, well, what's the worst that could happen? I drown. I didn't try, though. I was too scared of what Nightwolf would do if he did get me. After he was done eating, the prick came over and sat next to me. You know, you still haven't thanked me. I looked at him. He was squinting against the sun, his face hard. For what? For saving your life. Well, I opened my mouth to say something smart, but I didn't feel like getting hit, so I said thank you. How about you show me your gratitude? Show you? Come on. He led me into the woods. When we were far enough in that nobody could see us, he told me to get down on my knees. I knew what was coming, but what could I do? When he was done, I spit him out onto the forest floor while he zipped up his pants, chuckling. God, I've never hated anyone so much in my life. July 6th, 2024. Jake died late last night. We were camped near the interstate, where we'd been since yesterday afternoon when another nasty storm had blown in. Near the end, he was consumed with fever and was delusional, talking out of his head like a fucking lunatic. Nightwolf let him stay in the van, but left himself, so of course I didn't get any sleep. Just before dawn, he rattled out his last breath and went still. Butch stabbed him in the head and pulled the blanket over his face. Hey, does it always work that quick? I asked. The infection? Most times, the old medic said. Saw a guy last 3 days before. Saw another last 3 hours. Depends on the person, I guess. Later, after sunrise, I helped Butch carry Jake into the woods and bury him. By the time we got back to the camp, dirty and covered in sweat, it was close to 8, and Nightwolf was mad I didn't have his breakfast ready, so he slapped me across the face. That's how you hit a bitch, he said. Lay off the kid, will you? Butch said. He was helping me. Stay out of it, no dick, Nightwolf spat. My bitch, not yours. I ought to fucking hit you for having him out late. Butch didn't have anything to say to that. After breakfast, we hit the road and crossed into Pennsylvania a half hour later. Where are we going? I asked. None of your fucking business, Nightwolf replied. Butch just shrugged. Nowhere, I guess. Just driving. Why not? Butch was right, there's nothing left. No cities, no government, no shopping malls. It's like the Road Warrior, but with more leather. God, the thought scares me. I mean, it can't all be gone, right? There's got to be something left. I saw a documentary once about how the government had all these underground bunkers during the Cold War, big complexes for Congress and their families. The threat of total nuclear annihilation collapsed with the Soviet Union. Yeah, I doubt they didn't have a couple of those bunkers still up and running, though. Then again, with all the politicians trapped underground, what good did that do? Everything might as well be gone. Was it in other countries? I asked. Knowing what I meant, Butch nodded. Last I heard, it was in France and Britain. Well, they could have cut Britain off, but not France. Yeah, and if it was there, it's everywhere. We lapsed into silence then. Outside, the Pennsylvania countryside was a green blur. Saw the occasional deadhead shambling toward the highway, but other than them, the world was empty. At noon, we passed the outskirts of Pittsburgh. Rising bleakly against the grey sky, looked like nothing but factories and ancient row houses. The streets were packed with the dead. They wandered aimlessly around like drunks trying to find their way home after a night at the bar. What do they do when they don't have any people to eat? They look for people to eat, Butch replied. Don't they ever stop? No, they just keep going. Hey, you two fucking get over it already, Nightwolf said. Is that jealousy I detect? Part 3. North of Pittsburgh, we got on the interstate and made 15 miles before coming to a snarl of stalled traffic. Densely forested hills flanked the highway. A few deadheads moved through the jam. Nightwolf stuck his head out of the window. Go back. I don't know how it happened, but suddenly we were surrounded. Deadheads were everywhere. I watched through the back windows as 3 guys were instantly overwhelmed. The deadheads pulled them off their bikes and started eating them. Chief Kissast hopped off his hog and reached for the shotgun he kept in the saddlebag, but a zombie came up behind him and ripped his throat out. Holy shit, Butch screamed. They were pounding on the side of the van, 1,000 dead hands thumping at ghastly tempo. Oh, fuck, Nightwolf spat. He threw the van into reverse. The back tires rolled up onto one of the overturned bikes, and we stalled. Fuck. A few of the guys farther back were fighting them. One munching on the chief's neck took a machete to the head and went limp. Another caught a shotgun blast to the face and danced off the blacktop. The asshole with the eye patch, the one who kicked me, raised his AR-15 to his shoulder and cut down 3 zombies before taking friendly fire to the back and going down. Nightwolf was frantically gunning the gas now. He slammed the wheel and let out another fuck. The dead were hitting the hood, hissing and mewling. Nightwolf turned, his face dark. You two lead him away. What? Butch asked. Get out and lead him away. Oh, fuck that. Nightwolf pulled out his revolver and pointed it square at Butch's face. The old medic went white in the face. Lead him away or you're dead. Butch looked at me and then to Nightwolf. All right, he said. He grabbed a rifle and handed it to me. He doesn't get a gun, Nightwolf said. I have to, I started. You don't get a frickin' gun. Hand him a bat. Nodding, Butch reached into a box and brought out a heavy wooden baseball bat. Grabbing an AK for himself, Butch scooted over to the sliding door. Nightwolf was leaning over the seat, pointing his pistol. He nodded. Looking like a man walking the long mile to the electric chair, Butch pulled open the door, and a dozen hands reached in. Nightwolf fired, striking one of the deadheads in the face and knocking him back. Butch then jerked the trigger, and a blast struck the crowd. I was frozen. "Get him, bitch," Nightwolf yelled. Coming alive, I lifted the bat and brought it down on one of the zombie's arms. It wasn't a very good hit, but the thing's forearm cracked. Then Butch fired again. The way was partly clear. Butch pushed his way out and I went after. 4 of the others had retreated partly up the hill and were picking them off while another took pot shots at the ones trying to climb the grade. The zombies from the other side of the van had joined the others now. There were 15 or 20, and they were so close now I could take 2 steps and kiss one. Butch opened up, and 3 of them went down. I swung the bat and it connected with one's head. The skull caved in and it dropped, rank cemetery fluid leaking from its shattered dome. Nightwolf was out of the van now, coming around the front and firing. I swung the bat again. My Vic's head flew off and struck the concrete. More were coming out of the woods, though. I counted another 13. "Hey, we gotta go," Butch screamed. And then, the zombie grabbed Nightwolf, and my heart leapt with hope. He punched it and knocked it down, so my dreams went down with it. Shit. I spun around. The zombie was taking a chunk out of Butch's arm. Another 3 grabbed him from behind and started dragging him back. He dropped the gun. A hand then grabbed the back of my shirt, so I drove my elbow back. The zombie's nose shattered and it fell. I went for the gun then. But I'd never held a gun before. It felt weird in my hands. Nightwolf saw me, started to swing around. So I opened fire. The gun kicked in my hands. The burst caught the front of the van, kicking up sparks. Nightwolf ducked. I spun around. The guys on the hill were dealing with a group of deadheads that had come over the hill. Closer, rank on rank, the zombies advanced. I shouldered my way through the closest one and slipped into the crowd. "Ah, you bitch," Nightwolf screamed. He squeezed off 3 shots, one of them whizzing by my head and hitting a zombie. Thank God they were spread out enough that I was able to make it through and up to the hill. Nightwolf fired 3 more times, the rounds hitting the ground in front of me, kicking up dirt. I turned and fired without aiming. The van's windshield shattered, the front tire popped, and I heard Nightwolf scream. My heart jumped then. I turned and went into the woods. I was free. July 7th, 2024. Well, freedom, like Janis Joplin said, is just another word for nothing left to lose. And boy, she was right. I'll be the first one to admit that I'm not an outdoorsman. I spent most of my youth in the house, reading and playing video games. I went hiking once with this chick I was trying to bang, and after a mile uphill, I was done. God gave me 2 hands for a reason, right? I was away from Nightwolf for an hour before the adrenaline wore off, and I realized I was in the middle of a forest, in a state I wasn't familiar with deadheads potentially everywhere. I stopped, looked around, tried to formulate a strategy while I caught my breath. I didn't know where the hell I was, but this is America in the 21st century, and the woods have to end sometime, probably sooner rather than later. I figured Nightwolf was probably too busy to worry about coming after me, but it would be smart to stay in the bush. The last thing I wanted was to find a highway and have the bastard come by and grab me. Didn't know what time it was. It had to be somewhere south of 4. I had to find shelter before night. As calm as could be expected, I started hiking through the undergrowth. There was a lot of boulders and fallen logs hiding in the brush. Did so much climbing I felt like a Mexican playing leapfrog with the border. Half hour after setting out, I came to a stream and took 5. I was so thirsty I drank the water without hesitation. Bear and deer shit never tasted so good. My body ached from the feet to my arms. I leaned back against a tree trunk and almost fell asleep. The only thing that kept me going over the edge was a long, low moan. I opened my eyes, my heart jumping into my throat. A zombie stumbled from a stand of bushes on the other side of the creek. He had been a man in life. He was tall, thin and bald, still wearing the rotted remains of a plaid shirt and jeans. His face looked like it had been chewed by buckshot. A bloody hole. Yeah, his face was just a bloody hole. When he saw me, he got excited and started coming at me, splashing into the water. I got to my feet and ducked around him, never taking my eyes off him. And after that, well, I just walked. I didn't see anything, didn't hear anything, well, aside from the occasional bush rustling. I jumped every time, but it was animals or something like that every time, so yeah. Still had the AK, by the way. The clip was empty, and I almost threw it away, but I held on to it because I had to find bullets eventually, you know. Before long, it started getting dark. Crickets started chirping and bullfrogs croaked. I was getting panicked, thinking I'd have to stay outside all night, but thank God I came to a clearing and saw a farmhouse off in the distance, rising up from a stand of trees. Closer, a dirt road curved to the left. A truck sat just off of it, and for a minute I thought I had a ride. When I got closer, I saw it wasn't a truck at all, just the burnt-out husk of a truck. Damn. I didn't see any zombies as I approached the house, but I did see a lot of dead bodies. Well, okay, not really dead bodies per se, but heaps of charred, burned, fucked up things that I thought were once dead bodies. The house was a 3-story clapboard affair with a green tin roof and a deep front porch. The door stood open, and in the gathering gloom I couldn't see past the threshold. Man, I did not want to go in there. But I didn't want to stay outside even more, so I forced myself in, leaving the door open behind me in case I needed to make a quick exit. Don't know what happened in that house, but it was a wreck. Furniture and pieces of wood were scattered across the floor. Pictures had been knocked off the walls and vases off tables. I tripped over something and almost kicked it. But then I saw what it was and my heart leapt. A rifle. Full of hope, I picked it up and tried to figure out how to check it for bullets. It's one of these dealies cowboys used to use. Add the cocky thing around the trigger. Slip your fingers through it when you're using it, and you pull down to chamber another round. I did that and a bullet popped out, so I figured it was loaded. I grabbed it off the floor and went off to check the rest of the house. Aside from a TV and a radio, it was pretty much empty. On the second floor, though, I found a pull string hanging from the hall ceiling. The attic. Sweet. I'd be safe up there. I found a few candles in a bedroom, so right now I'm writing by flickering firelight. There are no windows up here, so no one, or no thing, can see me. Oh, boys and girls, I think I'm home. July 9th, 2024. Yesterday I followed the dirt road to a 2-lane highway. I walked 2, maybe 3 miles in either direction, but didn't see anything other than a few walking dead. When I got back, I combed through the house from top to bottom. Found a few flashlights, some canned food, pillows and blankets, and a few jugs of water. Carried my spoils up into the attic, but didn't stay there. It was hot as fuck and I didn't feel like roasting, so I went back out and walked the property. Not much to get excited about, save for a gas pump out back. Tried to get it working, but it wouldn't, so fuck it. Back inside, I went into the basement and rooted around until I found a tabletop radio, sitting on a dusty workbench, hidden by boxes of screws and lug nuts. It felt kind of heavy, so I popped open the back, and sure enough, it did have batteries in it. I flipped it over and hit the on switch, and the soft hiss of static filled the void. Sitting on the edge of that stupid workbench, I turned the dial left and right, but got nothing, just white noise. At dusk, I went through the house and made sure it was locked up tight. A lot of the first floor windows had been smashed out, but I took care of some of those by pushing furniture in front of them. Because it was still so hot in the attic, I opened one of the second-story windows and crouched down beside it. The night air was cool and fresh. So for a long time, I just watched the night. The sky was wide and clear, and the moon shone big and bright. Well, it's funny, I thought, how life works. 2 months ago, I was looking at spending my entire life in prison. Now that shithole's a distant memory, and I'm free. Well, as free as you can get out here. I'm not gonna lie, though. Kind of miss prison. There you were safe, relatively. Had food and peace of mind, you know. Well, I have food, yeah, but since all this started, I haven't had safety or peace of mind. Well, at least I'm free, right? Nothing left to lose. Part 4. July 13th, 2024. I walked 5 miles west along the highway and came to a small town. It was really more of a, don't know what the word is, spot in the road, I guess. 5 buildings on either side of the pavement. A church, a post office/general store. 3 houses. An American flag flapped lazily on a pole in front of the post office. Well, if I knew how to sew, I'd have taken it and made a pair of shorts out of it. I'm still in my orange prison pants. In the general store, I took a red plastic basket and filled it up with canned goods and hot soda from a dead freezer along the back wall. When I was done, I hopped over the counter and looked for anything useful. Boy, did I find it. I think it's a Colt, though I don't know. It's a revolver, at least. Black with a cherry wood handle. It's fully loaded, plus I found a box of bullets. Really sweet, right? Yeah, I stuck the box into the basket and tucked the gun into my waistband. I was just climbing over the counter when I heard something. Kind of like a growl. When I realized what it was, though, my heart froze. 2 seconds later, through the plate glass window, I saw it. 3 motorcycles coming to a rolling stop. 2 of them boasted 2 guys apiece. The third was driven by a lone wolf. A night wolf. Oh, fuck. I grabbed my basket and ducked behind the counter. 2 minutes later, the bell over the door rang and the assholes came in. "Grab anything we can use," Nightwolf said. His cronies went about pillaging the place. They weren't nice about it either. I heard shit crashing and thumping. It sounded like they were tearing it apart. Fucking dicks. "Hey, find any alcohol?" Nightwolf asked. "Nah," someone said. "I got some peroxide." "God, my freaking arm's killing me." "Oh, did I hit you with my AK blast?" "Good, you prick." "No, check behind the counter." My heart jumped. Not good. Whoever Nightwolf had spoken to started my way. His footsteps were loud on the plank floor. Silently cursing, I pulled out the revolver and turned. Before he appeared, however, a loud crash rang out, and one of the other guys screamed. "Ah, shit," Nightwolf hissed. Counter guy said something and clunked off in the other direction. The other guy was still screaming. Hey, it got Dave," someone said. "Oh, fuck him," Nightwolf replied. "Oh, let's go." I held my breath as they departed. A few moments later, their bikes roared into life. But I waited a long time to come out. When I did, I saw what had become of Dave. He was lying in the middle of the floor, his throat ripped open, blood everywhere. Next to him, curled up like a dead spider, was the dead head. The blood was still pumping from Dave's neck. His face was white and drawn. He opened his eyes and looked at me. I recognized him. Well, he never really messed with me, but I remember him making comments about me being a bitch and shit. "Hey, Dick, Remember me? He blinked, tried to speak, but it came out a gurgle. Did they leave you behind, Dave, huh? Sat my basket down and knelt beside him. That's fucked up. Maybe it was fate. Maybe a coincidence. Something caught my eye. Sunlight glinting on steel. Tools hung from the side wall. Hammers, shovels, glowing as if touched by God. A handheld garden trowel. And I smiled. Geez, the least they could have done was put you out of your misery, I said, getting up. I went over to the trowel and picked it up. Lucky I was here. I knelt beside him again, making sure he saw it. His eyes went wide. Yeah, I'm a good bitch after all. I raised it up, brought it down onto his groin with all my might. It sank into him and he jerked, almost sat up, shaking and gurgling. Blood flew from his mouth. I yanked it out and stabbed him in the stomach next. I ripped it out again, roughly, and a long piece of intestine came with it. He was limp now, dead or near it. Grabbed hold of his guts and pulled. I ripped it off in my hands, slimy and warm. Something had come over me. Rage, fury, whatever you want to call it. By the time I was done, panting and out of breath, I'd stabbed the bastard 30 or 40 times. The trowel jutted from his ruined throat. I got to my feet and kicked him for good measure, and his head separated from his body. Who's the bitch now, huh? Almost as if hearing me, his eyes flew open. The deadhead, literally. I kicked his dome into a corner and left. Fuck him. July 14th, 2024. I found a car. Since I'd gone in one direction yesterday, I decided today to go in the other. 3 miles brought me to the outskirts of a place called Evansville. Medium-sized place. Lots of zombies. Anyway, one of the first buildings in town was a grocery store. Looked looted. There were 3 cars in the parking lot. I checked them all. One didn't have keys, the other had a flat tire. But the third worked great. And it's a cop car. When I first saw it, I got excited. Cops have all sorts of shit in their cars. Found a shotgun, extra rounds, some riot gear, a rifle, and some other stuff I can't think of off the top of my head. I was going to load it all into one of the other cars, but they didn't work, like I said. So I tried the cruiser and it started like a dream. Drove it back to the house and parked it against the front stairs. So if I have to, I can get in fast. Oh, and I picked up some maps from a little gas station. About 25 miles north of Pittsburgh. I really like being so close, so maybe I'll go further north. Top of Pennsylvania looks pretty rural. July 16th, 2024. There were 5 zombies in the front yard when I woke up today. I picked them off from a second-story window. I don't mean to brag, but I think I'm getting to be a pretty good shot. After I dragged them into the woods, I took Connie the cop car. Yeah, I named her. She's my bitch. I took her for a little spin. She only had a half tank of gas, so I stopped back at the grocery store from the other day and lifted a gas can and a garden hose. Long story short, I siphoned gas from those asshole cars that didn't work. Flats and no keys. Yeah, fuck that. July 19th, 2024. I packed Connie and left this morning. I was sad, you know. I kind of started to think of that farmhouse as my own. Too many damn zombies, though. In the last couple days, I was killing them left and right. I was afraid if I stayed, I'd eventually get trapped. I think they're starting to filter out of the cities now. For the first hour or so, I followed Highway 10 north. A couple of times I had to drive around stalled traffic. Next, I took US 15 east, then angled down onto Route 5. I'm in a little town in Maryland right now. I don't know the name of it, but it's on a big lake. A couple of miles down is a big amusement park. Well, Not really an amusement park with rides. I did see a go-kart track and a bunch of signs for an indoor arcade. I don't really know where I want to go. I was thinking of going back to the prison. I mean, like Billy Sutherland said long, long ago, it has food, walls, medicine, and guns. Richmond's only an hour and a half away, though. If I'm right about the deadheads spreading out from the cities, they'll eventually surround the place. With just me in there, I should have enough to hold out for a while, but not forever. I'm eventually going to need to go shopping. Don't have many other options, though. Yep, rock and a hard place. July 21st, 2024. I crossed into Western Virginia on Route 16 early yesterday morning. The I-81 corridor seemed to have been spared the worst of the rising. The roads were clear and none of the towns looked ransacked. Lots of farms. A couple of times I saw smoke curling from distant chimneys. I wonder how many people are holding up in their houses. I doubt there are many in big cities and towns, but out here in the mountains, I bet there could be a lot. Anyway, by mid-afternoon, I was on US 29, minding my own business when, rounding a bend, I saw 3 motorcycles up ahead. My heart seized. I didn't know if it was Nightwolf and his butt buddies or not. I mean, they're not the only assholes who can drive motorcycles, you know. I was too far away. So, I hit the gas. Well, there were 2 guys on one bike and 1 guy each on the remaining 2. The guy in the lead was wearing a denim jacket. His dull brown hair fluttered behind him. I still didn't know for sure if it was them, but I didn't care. They didn't hear me coming over the roar of their engines, so I flipped on the siren. Yeah, they heard that. The passenger on the rear bike looked back. Yeah, he was familiar. I hit the gas and rocketed forward. The guy opened his mouth to scream, but didn't have the chance. I hit the back of the motorcycle and it shuddered, spun right and flipped, spilling the 2 bastards onto the pavement. Oh, I saw the driver flip head over feet along the highway. It was wild. Whoever was on the next bike saw the whole thing and punched the gas, weaving into the other lane and getting the attention of the others. Going close to 90, I smashed into him. He hit the windshield, cracked it, and rolled off. I was having a blast. Nightwolf was pulling ahead and glancing over his shoulder. His buddy did the same. Reaching over to the passenger seat, I grabbed the revolver and shot the window out. Nightwolf's little friend was zigzagging all over the road now. Couldn't get a bead on him, so I just fired. Well, one of the rounds struck him in the shoulder. He lost control of the bike. While it skidded along the pavement, he flew over the guardrail and disappeared into a strand of forest. So now, it's just me and Nightwolf. He was going over 100, and I kept pace with him. Took the CB off the dash, flipped the switch marked PA. I'd used it before, just goofing around, and depressed the talk button. "Pull over to the side of the road," I said. "Your bitch wants to talk." At that, he threw a glance back. Though he was a good 30 feet ahead, I could see the horror on his face. I dropped the handset into my lap, grabbed the gun, and started shooting. Once, twice. Click. The rounds went wild. Oh, fuck. I punched the gas again, and the car surged forward. Nightwolf looked back and throttled his bike. He wasn't quick enough. I rammed him, and the bike went down. Oh, he tumbled along the asphalt like an acrobat. It really was quite impressive. He came to a rest underneath a green road sign. I parked behind him and got out, grabbing the shotgun. I'll tell you what, that son of a bitch was tough. All cut up and road rashed, he was trying to get to his feet when I kicked him in the back. Grunting, he fell to the dirt and rolled. So I kicked him again. Hey, Miss me? He's on his hands and knees now, panting. I kicked him again, and he went down with an oomph. I raised the shotgun like a club and brought it down on the back of his head with a sickening crack. He jerked and went limp. I was breathing heavily. It's time you got a taste of your own medicine, I panted, pulling off my pants. When I was done, I screamed in primal dominance. Nightwolf was groaning, stirring. You up, bitch? I asked. He moaned. How did it feel then? Fuck you, he muttered. Fuck you, literally. I pressed the barrel of the shotgun against the small of his back and pulled the trigger. August 2nd, 2024. South Shawshank State Prison sits several miles from I-81, surrounded by forests and hills. Driving up on it yesterday morning, with its turrets, guard towers, and high fences, I felt like coming home. I closed the main gate behind me and picked off the dozen or so zombies wandering the yard. I drove up the access road to the staff parking lot behind A-Wing. First, I visited the admin office and found a ring of keys. Though most of the doors in SS were electronic, they still had some old locks as backup. Next, I went back to my old block. There were zombies in 3 of the cells. One was Jimmy Muro, who was a friend of mine. Well, I shot them all and dragged them over to A block, along with Quincy and Billy Sutherland. After that, I went to the cafeteria and stocked up on canned food. Now, I'm sitting in my old cell, looking out of the window at the main gate. There are buses parked near the gym. Might use one to block the gate so no one can come in. I kind of wish the others were alive, so we could have someone to always be in one of the guard towers. Oh well, don't mind being alone. Really, I'm not actually alone. No. Nightwolf's zombified head is here. His eyes are no longer empty. They're filled with hate. Somewhere in that dead head brain of his, he remembers. He remembers me, remembers what I did to him. Can he feel himself rotting? I hope so. I really hope so. So yeah, that's another one of those that I started ages ago, and then some more was added to the story, and I never got around to finishing it. So, yay me, I've finally done it. Now that one was a bit of a roller coaster ride. Took you lots of different places, didn't it? Very intriguing idea. Put the undead into a prison. Really intriguing premise. Hope you enjoyed it. Had a lot of fun reading that way back in the day, and now as well. Anyway, yes. So that's another sort of snapshot of where my head is and how it works. So really hope you enjoyed it. Back again with a podcast tomorrow night over my second channel. If you're not familiar with that, then please go and check out my second channel, Dr. Creepen's Dungeon. I'm back again here on Wednesday with something else epic, just like always. So then, my dear friends, you sleep well, yeah? Okay, see you soon.
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this story today. Really means a lot to me and to the author of the story, of course. Well, if you want to know more about me, I'm pretty much everywhere on social media. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can download my music on SoundCloud. I've got a Patreon if you feel like. Throw me $1 or $2. Very much appreciated. And of course, on Reddit, I have a place where you can leave stories if you want me to read one that you've written. Well, hoping to see you all again very soon. Till then, sweet dreams. Bye-bye.